I'm going to be using an electronic ignition system made by Bosch, and this one is similar to one that was run on the Bertone 88 models, and it just fits in here on the later Bertone, so I'm going to put it in the same position as they did in the factory. I've treated the hole and now put a grommet in and then fed through the wires. And now just to tighten everything up. This was the overflow tank that came with the car. I've had it vapor blasted and it's come up really nice. I'm just screwing it in place now because trying to put it in when the engine's in is much harder. Next, I'm going over all the wiring in the engine bay. I'm using an iPad here to color code everything and then tag everything inside the engine bay. Previously, the block was machined and the valves are slightly larger than factory, about 1 mil on each one. The flywheel, pulley wheel and crank has been balanced. The pistons are now 86.6 and all the aluminium bits have been vapor blasted. The cam is very similar to a Euro spec one and the extractors have been ceramic coated. The twin 40 IDFs have also been completely rebuilt. The starter motor I have is a little bit old and I'm thinking I might get a new one, but rather than get a stock one I'll just go to Midwest Bayless and buy one of their high torque ones. Have you ever wondered what happens when you push that checkout button? Well, here's Midwest Bayless. As we wander past their showroom, we end up in the parts area where they stock a huge range of X19 parts and probably the biggest distributor in America and the world. And there's my starter motor. Thanks. So just packed in the box and then a few days later it ends up in Australia. I have everything now for the engine, including this rebuilt 5-speed gearbox. I found this electronic distributor as new old stock and had it tested and it worked perfectly up to 7,000 RPM. I'm also using this adjustable cam gear. This gear will enable us to advance about 20 thou as it was retarded at TDC, so the exhaust was opening too much. So now just for the cam box cover and the pulley wheel. This will center the belt onto the cam, then just for the cover itself, spark plugs, and we're done. Everything's been done on this engine. It's pretty much been completely rebuilt from scratch and every part is renewed. All I have to do now is get it in the car. A short trip back to my garage and then we just have it in place, ready to drop the car onto the engine. And now just to lower the car very carefully. A wiggle here, a wiggle there, and it's in place. And now to attach the lower mount, the dog bone mount, and then the snail mount on the side. And then crossing my fingers that it doesn't actually fall out. A new oil filter, and then the oil pressure sender unit. Both the heater pipes are full of crud, as you can see here. So I'm attaching this garden hose which will feed up through the engine bay and then into a funnel. I let it soak with CLR and just flushed everything through. There was a heap of debris in the water, so I then did the other side of the pipe and flushed it through again. And a little bit of compressed air for encouragement. It's not spotless, but it's a lot better. This rod connects to the rear arms. I need to make sure it's free and moving because when I take it for a wheel alignment, they need to be able to adjust it. Now that it's all moving freely, I'll attach it to the arm. And now lubricating the new polyurethane bush. As the shafts were old, I decided to get them rebuilt and also check to make sure they're okay. And now to pack the ends with more grease. And then do up the bolts. Putting the shaft into the hub, and then I'll lock up this nut later. Installing the castle nut and of course a new pin. The rear shocks that were cleaned and checked are now reinstalled. Putting the shaft in the correct position and then installing the arms. And now loosely tightening everything up because I'll do it again once it's on the ground. Now connecting the shaft to the gearbox and do up this lower nut. I then did the same procedure to the passenger side. But next time, I drop the dash off to get reskinned, I fix this lock and I complete the back end.